All right, so the two images that you pretty much sent me over, we're going to drag them in, and I'm going to explain a few things about how they look and the types of images that work best for this scenario.
Okay.
All right, so this one right here, this one was taken, looks like somebody took it with a camera.
I just took a picture of it. I have an actual SVG for it.
Yes, when you're dealing with Rhinestone Designs, SVGs work best.
Okay.
Because they already are scalable vector graphics, which means when you blow them up, you won't lose any resolution or any pixels. So with images like these, they can be done, but let me show you what happens. We'll right click on it. We'll do an outline trace in the clipboard. We have to do this to every image before we get started. Let the power trace work its magic. See, now that's not bad. Let's hit OK. But as you can see how how the edges are choppy. That's not to say we couldn't fix it, you know, and this isn't too bad of an image to actually do, you know, since everything did come out and it's not too choppy. Let's ungroup all objects, and then we can just go in there pretty much and delete what we don't want for right now, which is all of this gray. And then inside, now that's great. And then down here, we're just clicking on it and deleting it. All right, and I guess this was part of it, so delete that. All right. Now it's not bad at all. But if it was an SVG, it would have came in a lot crisper. But this is available. This is able to be cleaned up by simply taking and clicking this object right here, holding Shift. Can you see? Hello?
Yeah, I can see you.
Okay. And if I hold Shift and click the pink next to it, I can then right click, combine, and there it has been merged together. I can continue to hold Shift and click on this pink here, right click and combine, and now I've just welded all of that into one object. Okay. Last but not least, I'll click on this edge here, hold Shift, click on the pink, right click and combine. Now what combine does is it just pretty much combines all of those colors into one color. If we come up here and we hit our wireframe, you can see that it's still in the wireframe view, you can still see the different objects inside of this one object. So next what we'll do is we'll click on it and weld it all together. Let me go to the wireframe so you can see what happens. When we weld it all together, now it becomes one entire object.
Okay. What's the wireframe used for?
The wireframe is used to, because, all right, if we're in enhanced view, this is called the enhanced view. If we're in that enhanced view, visually what we see is purple and, well, hold on. See, it messed up right there. You see how that line is going through there?
Yes.
So let's undo it. All right. Visually in enhanced view, it looks like that's one object. But wireframe view allows you to actually see the cut lines and how this would visually cut out.
Okay.
So I tried to click on it, and let's see here. See, visually it's all one, but if we weld it together, see, it welded wrong right here. So let me go back. To alleviate that, we can come down here to our Smart Fill tool. The bottom tool on the toolbar. Now the Smart Fill tool allows you to fill this object in. I'm just clicking on it. I'm zooming in, clicking on each little piece. And now I can select all of the pieces by coming over here to this middle button at the top of the Rhinestone wizard.
Mm-hmm.
And that button pretty much selects everything of the same color. So let's click on that. And now we should be able to weld all of that gray together, like so. All right. Now, if we push it to the back, we can click on this purple and just delete it. Now, of course, this gray has those, it's still jagged, like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But what we'll do, we'll just change it to pink. And I'm gonna right click on this X up here to get rid of that outline. And we'll make all the rest of these other ones pink as well. Because we're just gonna merge the pink together and we're gonna merge the red together. And then we're gonna smoothen it all out.
Okay.
So right now, I'm just going to click on this part of the object, hold shift, click on this part and click on this part. I'm going to weld them together. And then I'm going to hold shift and going to weld it to this pink. Continue to hold shift and select this pink, and this pink. And then we're just going to come up here and weld it all together.
So all the pinks are now one piece.
All the pinks are together now.
Okay.
We'll do the same for the red. Since there's no more red on the image, we can go in here and click on this red and then come back over here to the Rhinestone wizard and click on select all of the same color.
Mm-hmm.
And then we can weld that together as well. Be mine. All right, right now the image is 3.326 by 2.583. So let's draw a box around it, and we'll use one of these nodes, pretty much drag it out and make it bigger. So typically I like to do, well, it just totally depends on the garment that it's going on. If it's going on a baby shirt or a onesie, you definitely want to measure the shirt to make sure that it's not too big. If it's going on, I like to measure most of my shirts just to get a visual.
I do too. Every shirt, I just got made it a habit. Any shirt, I don't care. I'm gonna pull out the measuring tape.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely makes it easier. It definitely makes it on point when you do it like that. But a lot of times when I don't even feel like getting up, in my mind, I'll say it's going on a large. But then I've done so many larges, I got to estimate the size. You know what I mean? But 9 times out of 10, I get up, I get the ruler, I get the garment, and I measure it exactly. So right now we're going to go with about 9 inches. About 9 inches. Women's shirts can be tricky because they have regular women's shirts and then the petite, you know, or the misses that I think they call them the misses.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's move this guy's plane out the way. Now, what we want to do here is we want to click on that pink. Now, over here in the tools panel, I believe it's, all right, it's the second one down. It's the shape tool. And the second one down on the shape tool list is smooth. I believe you have to hover over it and then click on left click, and then you'll get this little drop down menu here.
Okay.
Then we want to click on smooth. Now what smooth allows you to do is it allows you to take this edge here and smooth it on out by simply clicking and dragging like so. The longer you hold it over the area that you want smoothing, the more smoothing will be applied to it. And then we just let it go. And see, I just smoothed that edge out there.
Yeah.
We can do it going around and smooth it out here. Even inside here in the center, you want to make sure that that crosshair is over the area that you want to smooth, and you can see it smoothing it out as you go. The longer you hold in an area, the more smoothing will be applied. And then we just let it go. We can do it one more time to get that little kink out there. And then down here. Now those, in mine, I have these little nodes that popped up. Let's get off the smoothing tool and go back to our pick tool. To get rid of those nodes, you would pretty much double click on the object. And as you can see, those little nodes came up. So now we can just draw a box around them using the selection tool and just hit delete. And delete. And delete. All right, so that's looking smoother already. So I'm pretty glad you chose this one because it allows me to show you
some of the other tools.
Yeah, how to use the smoothing tools. So let's click on this again. Let's go back to our smoothing tool. And then I'll just smoothen this on now. All the way around to here. Get in there and smoothing that part out. So, all right. Now I'm just gonna smoothen out the B. Now there's also another way you can smooth out. Let's go back to our selection tool. And if you double click on the E, you see all the nodes pop up. If you go in here, and this is a little slower, but it's also a little more precise to get it how you want it. So you'll go in there and you'll just start deleting nodes. And as you delete the node, the E will smoothen out. So let's go in here and delete this chunk. And delete all of this. As you delete them, it smooths out for you and maintains the shape of that E. So if you wanted to go in there and just wanted like this one little piece here, you can just select that piece. Versus using the smoothing tool, where it's pretty much going to take the nodes and just like stretch them to where they smoothen out.
Which one do you like better?
To each his own. They each have instances where one works over the other. Like for this, how we're doing this B, how the words are pretty thick, like you know what I mean? It's not too detailed. This works better because it's able to smooth out multiple nodes at once versus using this, let's see, over here. Then I gotta go in there and say, and zoom in, and then delete this part. And I'm looking at it, and it look a little jagged here, so maybe I'll delete this one. Or see, this one gives you a little more control, and it would be, I guess, better on a more detailed design. Because that way you'll know, like, okay, it's not supposed to curve like that, and you'll curve it the way you want. But this is a pretty thick design already. So the smooth tool works best on this. But if you have something that's like this, let me show you. We're gonna right click, outline trace, clip art. Okay. I'm just gonna move this up a little bit. So we can drag this over here. Let's make it bigger. Now all I'm gonna do is ungroup all objects, click on the black and delete it. Of course, we still have that other black there, but I want to keep the black inside of the hands. So I'll just click and delete the other blacks, like so. Well, watch this. I'm going to drag this out. And we're going to change it to a different color so we can see it. Now, something like this, if I use the smooth tool on this, it's going to smoothen it out too much. And you'll see. Now we got the smooth tool. Now, if I went in here and I highlighted this. So sometimes it may smoothen it to the point to where you're grabbing all of this and it's already detailed. So you might not necessarily want to smoothen it. So you might want to go in there and do something more so like this. Where you'll double click on it and say, I just want this little piece right here, this little divot here. Then you can go in there and zoom in and pinpoint just that node and delete it. Just this node and delete it. Just this node and delete it.
I got you.
So now you got more control. And I clicked on the node, it brought up these arrows. Now I can drag this arrow back this way. And then drag
so
this.
You're reshaping it with the nodes.
Reshaping it with the nodes versus allowing the smooth tool to smooth it any way that it wants. Like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So you just got more control over using one over the other. All right. So I'm gonna do this real quick and smoothing this out, and then next we'll add an outline to it. So let's go to the smooth. So I mainly use the smooth tool for stuff just like this, where the nodes aren't as smooth as they could be, and I just smoothen them up a little bit. But for the most part, I'm using the other method that I showed you because I want a little more control. But the smooth tool works great on this. Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. Now, move this back out the way. Okay. So most people, if we were cutting out vinyl, this would look good on a shirt, just like this. Pink vinyl and red vinyl. But if we're using stones, me personally, I feel like the stones look better inside of an outline. So what I would do is I would click on what I want. I would place and fill, go to our place and fill tab. And since I'm not going to use stones, I don't want the add stones to be checked. I know I want the contour on the outside. Contour on the outside. Now, I mainly don't touch the islands, the space, the fill line spacing. The only thing I touch is the contour spacing, because the contour spacing will determine how thin or how thick the line is for the contour. So I'm going to leave it at 0.075, and we're just going to hit island fill. And as we can see, island fill gave us this. I don't know why it does it like this sometimes, where it didn't outline the B, it outlined the inside of the B. But the way I figured out is you have to increase the contour spacing. So let's go from 0.075 to a 0.1. Now when we click on it and hit island fill, it got the whole B, the outline of it as well. So sometimes if that happens where you do an outline and then outline the whole thing, it has to, the contour spacing has to be increased a little bit to make that work. So now I'll hit this black, and as you can see, we have a black outline on the pink parts. I deselected it, and I'll click on the red and do the same thing. Just hit island fill, and then I change it to black. Now, that's going to look better than just having it solid like so. I'll show you. So now what we want to do is each one they're layered on top of each other. So if we move this pink, you can see that black is pretty much just a layer beneath it. Well, what we want to do is we want to be able to trim this pink through the black. To do so, we'll click on the pink, we'll hold shift, select the black, and then we'll come up here and we'll hit trim on our toolbar. What that just did was it basically cookie cut it, the pink through the black, like so.
Mm-hmm.
You want to do it again with the red and the black. So click on the red, hold shift, click on the black, and let's trim it. So now what we have is something that looks like that. All right.
And that's the outline.
That's the outline, which we can actually take this outline and weld it together like so. Just click on one black, hold shift, click on the other black, and weld it. So now the black is all welded together while the pink is separate and the red is still separate. All right, and I am recording this, so I'll be able to share the recording with you.
Okay.
All right, now what I want to do is let's add stones to this Be Mine. Let's click on the pink first. What I like to do is I like to first select what stone color, and nothing is determined at the moment because I mean we can switch the colors around so much. But visually, when I'm working, I like to use whatever colors I can see, even if that's not the colors that the design is going to be ultimately. So I'm just going to choose green because I know I'll be able to visually see green on top of that pink. Click on the pink, and now is where I want to change my contour spacing out of this whole box here. Out of these six boxes, or these six settings, the only one I mess with is contour spacing. So let's change that back to 0.075. And occasionally I might change the island. I might change this from 1 to 0 or to 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let me show you why. So if we put it on one island to the outside, 0.075, we'll get one island.
Mm-hmm.
If we put it on 3 islands and click on it, we'll get 3 islands. And then you can click on one island, change the color, click on another one, change the color, and click on the last one and change the color. So now you got 3 islands. All right. Or essentially, if it was on when you're going inside and you choose 0 islands, it's just going to continuously, let me make this larger. It's going to continuously to create islands in the inside until it can't create any more islands. So 0 for islands is unlimited, but that's only for when you're going inside. If you click outside and try to go unlimited, it will say down here at the bottom of the Rhinestone Wizard, please enter number of islands. Because if you go on infinity outside, your computer will crash because it's just going to keep making islands. So that's why it only works for the inside when you're using 0. But we can go 10 islands outside if we want to, and then to just create 10 islands for us.
I got you.
All right.
Yeah.
Comes in handy when you're trying to create those I would call it psychedelic type of effects or whatever. Or you want multiple islands with multiple layers. All right. So I'm gonna change it back to green. Remember, our contour spacing is 0.075. 0.075 is the perfect contour space to allow the stones to sit right inside of the object, like so. Let's hit an island field. Oh, wait a minute. Got to remember to change my properties back to inside, add stones since we're adding stones, and click on magic path as well. Now,
You're doing 10 islands?
no, you're right. I'm gonna just switch it to one island for now,
Okay.
and then let's hit our island field. Now, remember, whenever you hit island fields, it's a 3-step process. Whenever you hit any of the fields, it's a 3-step process. So we hit
Clear the path, merge stones.
Gotcha. You got it. Boom.
I've been watching.
So now that puts it at 0.075. It puts it right on the edge, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we did, I'm just going to select one, select all of the same size and color over here with the far right one. Click back over to Corel right here in the top area, and then delete. So, let's change our contour spacing to 0.1 and watch what happens. When we click on it and do island fill, it's even more off the edge. It's 0.1 off the edge. So that comes in handy when you're dealing with the design and you're looking at it and you're like, I think I want the stones to sit in a little more because of how they may connect. For example, you see this eye here. You see how I got it? It looks perfect. It got the eye perfect. That's at 0.1, which means that the stones are not on the edge, but off of the edge a little bit. When we just use 0.075, and then we did our island fill, and then we did our clear the paths and merge overlapping stones. Now you see it's on the edge, but when it got down here, it said, I don't know what quite to do, and it just left it like that. Got the heart pretty good. You know, it got most of it pretty good. You know, the E right here can use some work. You know, so using the tools gives you, I would say, 80 to 85% of the work. And then you have to just go in there and just manipulate. I just moving the stones to where you feel they should go. And then I'll hold shift and select the stones in between. And then use our equal spacing to equal space those out. And it looks like we can fit one more stone in there. Boom. We'll hold down shift and we'll clear the path. So there, we just fix that eye.
So when you just did that, you pressed the stone, you held shift, right?
Yep.
And then you touch the other ones.
Correct.
Then you added a stone. Am I missing a step?
Nope. Okay, I'll do it one more time. So
okay.
You have a line like this that's not completed. So you want to click on one stone, hold shift, click on every stone in order after it. So this one, I'm still holding shift as I go across. This one, and then this will be the end stone where you want this to stop at. We'll equal space it.
There it is.
Then we'll add a stone. And then to get rid of this line in between them, we'll hold down shift and clear the paths. And it gets rid of that line.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to do it again here with this. All right, now see whatever is going on in the pink. I'm just going to double click the pink. I get my nodes and I just go in there and delete that. All right, now what I'm going to do here is just grab this green, move it a little closer to that one. And what I like to do is I like to move the stones to where I feel they should be before I do my equal spacing. All right, so I felt like those should be on that line. And now I'm just going to click on this one, hold shift, and select to about right there. The old me was so cynical, I would just continue to hold that shift and go all the way around and equal space the entire row. But the more and more I start doing it, I realize that I only have to equal space what's visually to the eye. Because on your shirt, when someone's looking at your shirt, they're gonna they're not sitting there counting stones. They're just going by a visual as well. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Oh, I'm paying attention.
All right. Let's replace the stones to make the spacing equal. And that looks pretty good compared to the rest of the stones. So I'll hit shift and clear the path. And this one right here looks like I can drag it to the left just a little bit. That looks better. I'll even see if I can get a stone down in here. I can, but it's kind of tight, so I won't. You know what I mean? What I'll do is I'll bring this stone closer and then just equal space those out like so. And of course, it put it over the line, so I'll just nudge it back in. Grab it and drag it back in. So that's looking good. That's looking good. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on one green, delete it all. Now, if we go to our islands and make it 0 islands, and then click on it and then do an island fill to the inside, now it gives us multiple islands, clear the path, merge overlapping stones. Multiple islands, but now as you can see, there's just a little more work. You know what I mean? It's a little more work to clean it up. As you can see what it did to the heart over here. It got the first 3 rows perfect. Then once it came into the center of the circle, it was like, I don't know where to put the circles at, so I'm gonna just put them in there. You know, then you'll have to go in there and visually, you know, I'm just sliding them over into their own perspective rows. Because then once I get done doing something like this, I'll use my equal spacing to equal space it out and make it look perfect. So right now, I'm just grabbing and dragging where I feel like the stone should go. Which essentially, just doing it like this, you may even choose not to use the equal spacing tool because visually it's going to
looks perfect.
Yeah. Like right here, I can't quite figure out like what to do. So I'll just grab this one, hold shift, and just do this line. So like there, boom. Upon doing that line, I got to do this other line. And I think that fixed it. Visually anyway. Not bad, but I see right here, like I can fix this line. I'm just, you know, clicking, holding shift, and fixing this whole row, sort of to speak. Boom. Can I add one? No, it looks cluttered. Bring it back. So now that's not bad, but just looking over it, you may be like, I'm gonna do one more row and see how it looks. Like, you know what I mean? Or we'll just get in there. The hearts, S's, anything that does a swirl, it can become difficult because look at this B. With the swirl, it starts off with 2 stones able to fit in this row, but then as it widens out, you know, it's a row of 4 right here. A row of 4 here, a row of 4 here. So with the squiggly or the curvy text or objects, you got to improvise. You know what I mean? You got to go with what visually looks great to you, because if it looks visually great to you, everybody else will deem it the same way as well. All right, let me get rid of all of these. Because what I like to do, what looks like computer graphics, is the hatch fill. Now the hatch fill will not incorporate all of the curves, but the hatch fill left to right, to me, just looks more uniform at the end of the day, and it's fuller with no gaps. But then you still have just a little work to do, as you can see. So essentially I'll look at it and be like, yeah, that does look better than that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
But to each his own. I think sometimes we got to tell ourselves how much work are we willing to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'll do one of the other. I'll do a island fill, see what it looks like, gauge how much work I want to do. I'll do a hatch fill and then look at it and gauge how much work I want to do. Just upon looking at it, I'll probably fix this B by adding a stone here, adding a stone here, and just equal space that row right there and add a stone and shift and clear the path. Now it added that curve to already what was left to right, left to right, left to right, left to right. So the stones with the hatch fill go left to right as it being printed by a printer. While the other ones, you know, they just follow the curve, which each is good, you know what I mean? But that's a battle you'll have with yourself when you're doing the designs. Which way do you like it better? Like, you know what I mean? Because ultimately, for the 10 years that I've been doing it, unless I was able to point it out like I just pointed it out to you, the customer doesn't even care. Like, you know what I mean? They just want.
I noticed that it be us.
Yeah. The customer, you know, they just want it stoned at the end of the day. So unless you gave them the option and showed them, you know, once they get their product, they're gonna love it for what it is. Like, you know what I mean? Unless, you know, like right here, that just looks weird compared to all of this. This part here looks weird. So I would just go in there and visually clean it up and add that curvature to this part, even though I use the hatch fill primarily. Because then that way, visually to the eye, this curved part will curve like it's supposed to. And this is one of the places where you may just want to overlap just a hair to get the visual. See,
So sometimes I know, so it's okay if you put it on the outline, but not on the vinyl, only on the flock vinyl, right?
all right, hold on. I'm gonna pause it right here.
Okay.
And